You're listening to the Morning Punchin' Show with RB and Jae, live and direct from more cities than an Instagram model's bio. Get ready for some boxing talk on the clock. Let's face it, you're not working and somebody's got to pay for the Wi-Fi.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is RB and Jae. This is the Morning Punchin' Show, the most unpredictable, unconventional, authentic morning boxing talk show in the game. Today is Tuesday, March 7th. You heard that right. Today is Tuesday. We have a special edition show for you guys. Our special guest today is unified welterweight world champion Keith Thurman. So big surprise for us, big surprise for you guys. But we got you guys covered. We're going to talk to Keith today about a lot of things, about the Garcia fight, what's in store for his future, what he's going to do in between fights. Let me properly introduce my partner in crime, the creator and founder of BadCulture.net, contributor for BlackSportsOnline.com, Jay LaBeouf. What's good, Jay?
What's good, RB? And hey, boxing fans worldwide. It's so nice to be able to do this twice a week. I love when we get to do these pop-up shows, RB. So I thank you for rocking, and I thank you, the listeners, for continuing to tune in and listen to us on these morning shows. What happened was, after we wrapped yesterday, as you know, if you tuned in yesterday, we talked about the Thurman-Garcia fight and broke it down and had Jake's take and had a really great show, had Tom on. Right after we wrapped, we got a call from Keith Thurman. He wanted to talk about the fight. You know, he's a friend of the neighborhood. He always enjoys rocking with us, so of course he had to call his girls. So we're going to, we pre-recorded our talk with him, and so we're going to play that for you. I'm so sorry we didn't get to take your calls yesterday, but today we got you. We want to talk about the fight, so make sure you jump in the queue now so we can talk about Garcia Thurman with you. 718-508-9852. So get in the queue and get ready to sound off. So, but RB, you know I got to play it before we kick it off. You know, it's always a good time when Keith come on the show and rock with us. So I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take it back to our longtime listeners and play his award show performance for when we had the MPs at the end of the year. So we're going to kick it off with Keith Thurman's performance before we start the interview.
Kicking off the 2016 MP Awards, please welcome the WBA welterweight champion, Keith "One-Time" Thurman.
Yes. Yes, one time. I had to kick it off with that. That's a great moment in RB and J history right there. Oh, my God. Okay. So, we'll quit playing around. Here we go. Here's our interview with Keith Thurman.
You can call him one time, but the streets of Brooklyn is now calling him two times. The WBA, WBC unified welterweight champion, Keith "One-Time" Thurman. So, Keith, now that the fight is complete and the check is in hand, what's the first thing you're willing to reward yourself with? Are you going to get another Prius? You going to pick up some new flutes? You know, what's going on down in Florida?
I just hung out a little extra in New York for a little bit, just getting a different taste of the city. Well, the day after the fight, I went down to Melbourne and had me some chicken and waffles, some soul some collard greens.
Ooh,
so,
that's what I'm talking about.
It was definitely a treat to myself. But I'm looking forward to getting out of this cold, getting back to Florida, seeing Moms. Moms was proud of the fight. Pops was at the fight, but Moms wasn't. And then, just take it slow. Just take it slow. Get back and think about the future.
Listen, you look so fresh and so strong in the fight. Were there any lingering injuries whatsoever from your car accident? Because we never know what a fighter's really going through in camp.
Nah.
You were good?
We had a real good recovery, and that's why we were able to put on a good performance after last year anyways. Is to not put my body through a lot. I was through a car accident and a fight. For me, I counted that as two fights. and I wanted to wait for this fight, and this fight manifested, and we were victorious the way that we thought we would be able to be.
Yeah, it seems like your corner did a really, really good job. I mean, you really established the rhythm earlier. You had a really great game plan. You were disrupting Garcia throughout the entire night. I have to give kudos to your corner and Dan Birmingham, because I don't think he gets enough credit in general in boxing. I think he's a phenomenal trainer.
Yeah, we knew that we knew what we wanted to do, and we felt like we were able to do it, throughout the whole night. We believed that we were able to do almost anything that we wanted to do. We just had to be smart, because Danny, he's a fighter. He's strong. He's always planted. He had good eyes in there. I could tell he had good eyes. He's a world champion. He just faced another champion and one that happened to be better.
We know that during the build-up to the fight, Angel had a lot to say to you. Once the final bell sounded, or any time after your hand was raised, did he ever congratulate you? Did you get a text? Did he slide in your DMs? Has he said anything congratulatory to you since the fight ended?
Nah, we didn't. We haven't talked or anything like that. I walked over to his corner, and gave respect to pretty much everybody. And then, me and Danny were in the middle of the ring. And we both said good fight to one another. He said good fight to me afterwards. It's all good. And like I said, man, I'm never fighting the father. This is the third father-son team that I faced. It's just ironic, but that's just how it is. And the father doesn't fight. The fighter does. That's their son. And Danny, is a great champion now, former ex-champion. And it just is what it is, He boxed well, I boxed better. That's how I feel.
I feel like boxing needs more of you, Keith. I mean, you're so good for boxing. You're charismatic, you're funny, you're intellectual, you're this great character. Plus, you could fight. I mean, you have all these things going for you. And at the post-fight press conference, you said, fighting once a year, that's really not the business. That's really not your goal this year. And you said, you did hope to be back this year. So are you going to steer the ship a little tighter this year? We're going to see more Keith Thurman?
Well, we were able to start the year off earlier, too,
Mm-hmm.
And that helps. But, yeah, I mean, it's still, it's not even 6 months through the year. So I should be able to relax after this, have plenty of time. And eventually, something should manifest later on. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this or not, but the event on Saturday night marked the highest attended boxing event in Barclays Center history.
And that's obviously a beautiful thing. The last, we knew that Danny's very popular. He's performed there on several occasions. We had the epic fight with Sean Porter last year, so we were hoping to kind of get that love and respect, and I'm glad everybody came out.
Yeah, and I think they also came out for you, because another quick fact here is that you now hold the top 3 highest-rated primetime telecasts since PBC started. Did you know that?
I'm not sure that I was aware of that one. So
see, I just put you on. I mean, it speaks volumes for your star power and what you're doing, and that's why I said we definitely need more of you, because these are not coincidences. You're breaking records at the Barclays Center. You have the top 3 highest-rated telecasts. I mean, sky's the limit for you right now, man. You're like on top of the world.
I mean, this is what we always wanted. We want to fight the best, compete against the best, and try to be the best. And I've always had a exciting fight style ever since I was a little kid, and we knew that. So it's just great to get the love from the fans. It's great to get all the viewership that we can, and it's great to just bring people back into boxing, man, because boxing is a beautiful sport.
After the fight, Angel does all the talking, most of the talking over there. Danny's a pretty quiet guy. He said that he wanted Danny to retire because he's no stepping stone. Do you feel that the fight was that close, or does he deserve a rematch, or do you want to just move on?
If they're that salty about it, it is what it is, I'll sign a rematch. I'll do many things. Because, I'm open. I'm open for negotiation again, so that just is what it is. But outside of that, I think Angel's just being a father, man. A lot of people don't understand how difficult boxing truly is, and just being a true father, he's probably, his son was champion for 5 years or whatever. You know, they got a lot going on. He maybe think he can pull out that maybe he's done enough. And you know, the only thing about boxing is at the end of the day, nobody wants to be that person that says, you know, oh man, that person stayed in too long. You know, I think he's still young enough. It's up to him, obviously. I think he's got plenty of fight left, and he can challenge a lot of people in the welterweight division. He's a good fighter, but I think it was a little much. But then again, it's the heart of a father, so it's different, man. Dealing with Angel is different. It's not just a trainer; it's a father, and it just is what it is. So it was his first loss, though. So I don't think it was that dramatic.
I love that the
post-fight.
Yeah, I love at the post-fight press conference you were really honest about not knowing what's next for you. You just kind of wanted to savor the moment and, you know, think about that later. And I loved when you said that you just want to make history. You are not afraid to let the O go. Why is this era so obsessed with being undefeated and just not wanting to fight the best?
Well, it's already a tough climb to the top. So you don't want to really just throw your position away. Some do need a little bit more of a build-up, or that the build-up is worth it. But at the end of the day, you know, I think sometimes you need a build-up, but I don't think it needs to take forever. You know, I just like being logical. I just like being a realist to the most that I can be. So that's just the way that I look at it. You know, a lot of fights should happen, so they should happen. It might take some time, but I think fights should happen. You know, and maybe I'm just optimistic, but you know, I'm a fighter, so I'm a person that has some control. All I got to do is sign it or not sign it. I'm a yes man. I sign contracts.
I like that.
Now, along with your winning, what do you feel like you need to do outside the ring to kind of hold that position and keep all eyes on Keith Thurman? So when you're not fighting, you're still in the forefront of people's minds.
I mean, we'll see. I'm not really stressing it like that, you know. I've always looked at it as technical, you know what I mean? When you're at the top and you stay at the top, you get recognized for being at the top, you know. And it's cause and effect, you know. A lot of people don't remember that Mayweather was at the top for a long time. You know, the way it took him to build up his name and do the things that he's done. Roy Jones Jr. was at the top for a long time. You know, when you hold the spot down, eventually, you know, you get the crown. You get ranked as number one, looked at as number one, talked about as number one. So I'm just still here doing me. You know, I'm not really worried about too much besides resting, enjoying life, and then getting back into the ring. You know, we might do some more commentary. We did some commentating last year. We might do some this year. Just enjoy camp when camp comes back, because this is my job, and I really do love what I do.
All right, Keith. Well, always a pleasure talking to you. We know that you definitely did Ben Getty very, very proud this Saturday night. So we're looking forward to seeing you again in the ring, and congratulations again on unifying the titles.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
All right.
If you want the best, BoxStats beats the rest. BoxStats is the best boxing app for all you boxing enthusiasts and professional boxers. Perform a quick search and get all the info you want and need. BoxStats, available on the Apple App Store. Download it for free today. BoxStats, know your opponent.
All right, we are back. That was our candid little chat yesterday with Keith. And I just have to let everyone know that he was actually really, really, really tired yesterday. He was in bed talking to us. He's ready to get out of New York and head to Florida. So he wasn't as colorful as he normally is, but he definitely wanted to talk to his homegirls, and he was being really selective on which media he was talking to. And we were just fortunate enough that he gave us 5 to 10 minutes to chat with him, and it was a really pleasant surprise for us, and we hope you enjoyed it. Jay, what'd you think overall?
It's always great talking with Keith. I'm very happy to hear that the respect level between he and Danny is so high, as it should be. Danny is a good kid, and I think he gets a lot of flack just based off of his dad. You know, dad is just a trainer. Like Keith said, he's not fighting the father, he's fighting the son. Danny is completely respectful. They sound like they have mutual respect for each other. Keith says he's open to a rematch. Damn what Angel's talking about. As I'm sure the majority of us feel, there's no way that Danny is washed up or should quit. For Angel to say that is ludicrous and asinine and kind of undermining the accomplishments of his son. So if they run it back, cool. I don't know that I necessarily need to see a rematch, but I definitely want to see Danny back, and I sure want to see Keith back. So it was a good start to Keith.
I think we both agree there, Jay. The fight was, good. It was aight. There was nothing to it wasn't like France and Santa Cruz won.
Right.
Where we were just screaming for more. So, but I love that he said that he is going to take more ownership of his career this year. He wants to steer his own ship. He wants to be more active. If I'm Al Heyman and I have something like Keith Thurman in my stable, I mean, man, I'd be fighting him 3 times a year. And I know it gets a little costly, but that's what it is to build a superstar. You see Golovkin, he fights 3 or 4 times a year. Canelo fights 3-4 times a year. Deontay Wilder was fighting 3-4 times a year. That's what you got to do when you're building a superstar. So I hope that happens for Keith Thurman because we really not only like watching him fight, but I think he's good for boxing. I said it 100 times.
I agree. It's kind of like the whole model. Instead of paying all these boys, these young men, so much money, put the faces of the franchise in front. When you look at the Lakers or any professional team, the guy on the bench is not making the same amount of money as Kobe. You have the guys that are at the top of the tier, and then everybody else is falling in. And also what I would like to see is more names on one card instead of everybody spread out and headline a card. Everybody doesn't need to headline a card. If they do another fight, I would even be cool with seeing Keith and Danny co-promoted with
card.
On the same card instead of one doing a card here, one doing a card there. Maximize what their both of their potential, put them on the same card. So anyway, that's what I would like to see more of with PBC.
Yeah.
They got a lot of talent, but I don't necessarily need to see everybody on their own card.
Yeah. Well, look, the phone lines are open, 718-508-9852. Yesterday we had a lot of you guys that were a little upset with us because we ran out of time and we weren't able to pick you guys up, and you guys wanted to talk about Danny Garcia and I guess whatever else was on your mind. So if anyone wants to press 1, that's how we know that you want to speak with RB and Jay, and we'll pick you up and we'll chat here for, 10, 15 minutes or so, whatever. We got anybody, Jay, wanting to come on?
We sure do. Let's start with this one. 812, you're on with RB and Jay. Who is this and where are you calling from?
Jay, RB, how you doing? This is Joey from Indiana.
Joey!
Hey, Joey.
Man, thank you so much for this show, man. I was like, once I saw this, that y'all tweeted this last night, I was really excited. Man, I got so much to ramble up, but let me just first start. Very impressed with Keith Thurman by far is my favorite boxer, like current boxer today. So I may sound a little biased a little bit, but I can't help it. I
no
think
problem.
I was just impressed. Like, I really feel like his ring generalship, I think he's just so intelligent in that ring because, like you just said earlier, you gave a lot of credit to Birmingham, but Thurman as well because he listened. Like, he was so, like, if you really studied him in that ring, he was so focused. I didn't even think he blinked in any of those rounds. I mean, his eyes were set on Danny, and he was picking his shots. He listened to the corner, and I know a lot of people got mad and said that he took a few rounds off towards the end, and a la Trinidad de la Hoya. But I think he just felt so confident that he did his job, and he knew deep inside that he won. Of course, you wanted to see him, take more risks, but when you find a guy like Danny with that heavy left hand, you guys know this more than me. All it takes is one mistake, and you get in the 8-10 count. So
yeah,
this is the biggest fight of his career. You can't really take chances. You got to do it, like he said. It's like sports is a point system. So you got to fight smart. So I give a lot of credit to Thurman, man, and I just, like you said, he's really great for the sport. He speaks very well. Jay, I was going to say, man, he's got the potential. Like you asked him this to really start getting into sponsorship.
Yes.
First thing I thought about, and y'all, hey, it is what it is. But if I'm his people, I'd reach out to Head and Shoulders. I mean, he's got that hair. You should take advantage of that.
Joey, okay. Can you say that again, please?
I mean, have his handlers reach out to Head and Shoulders. I mean, look what it did for Troy Polamalu. We can see, and Thurman's got that gap. He can smile. I mean, people gonna look at it like, hey, look at this dude on Head and Shoulders, but he can flex with his 2 belts. I mean, that's just the start, along with the commentary. But I think it's time to venture off to other things, and he's got that bright personality. I mean, I love to hear the man talk. I mean, that thing he did with Mark Frigo, he talked for an hour and a half, and that was like, man, when is this interview going to end? You know, so, hey, and RV, I got an idea for you, too. But I don't know if you would do this because you may get some heat. Okay, you know how you always do your shirts, right, with the Puerto Rico, the Italian, and the Mexican? You can do one where it says the Guerreros, the Porters, and the Garcias. Yes, I don't know how you would. I don't know how you would tie it up, like by Thurman. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good idea because he did mention that was his third time fighting a father-son team. You know what? I'm going to have to reach out to our girl Hannah. Me and Jay are going to have to come up with something for that. That's a really, really dope idea. Joey, I think, talking about the sponsorships for Keith Thurman, when we look at Golovkin, and he's been in Apple commercials, he's got a Jordan deal. His team has been really aggressive getting him endorsements. And so I think that Keith needs to formulate a marketing team like that can go out there and get him a Reebok deal or a T-Mobile deal. He needs those bigger endorsements. But with that being said, he needs the right people to do that for him.
Yeah, I definitely. And another thing too, ladies, like I don't see it like it's a reality where I feel he can obtain all 4 belts. Like I think he can get the winner of Spence and Brooke. And then if Manny's still around with that belt, doesn't Manny got Jesse Vargas's belt?
Yep, he sure does.
Yep.
See, like next year, I don't see it. Like that'll be awesome. Like I mean, PBC's got something here. I mean, for me, a lot of my casual fans came over my house and watched the fight. They really intrigued by this guy. I mean, I support, and I didn't even mention Danny. First off, I want to give him a lot. I respect him because the way he said you got to take your losses with the way you take your wins. Right there, I was sold on him. He could have been bitter. He could have been crying, and I tip my hat to him. And I know a lot of my personal friends that are in the boxing, that love boxing, they're diehard Danny fans, man, and they're hurt over this. I know how it is. I mean, I'm a Phoenix Suns fan, and we ain't make playoffs in 7 years. I mean, it hurts, man. So I know the hurt that they're going through. So, but I tip my hat off to him. But man, Thurman's got it. He's got he's the total package, to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of Philly people, a lot of Philly Rickens, they got on the turnpike, on that New Jersey turnpike, and they headed to Barclays and Brooklyn, and I know they were hurt by that too. I just hope this week they get on the boulevard and head to South Philly and come to Philly Fight Night, though.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be – one more thing real quick, Jane RB. I was at the Broner fight, right, and I always get there early so I can, meet some of the fighters and promoters, and I got to meet Sam Watson. Right when I met him, man, he started clowning me to the full. He was like, "You know who you look like, right?" He was like, "Man, you look like Keith Thurman, man." I was like, "Oh God, this dude." But no, he was a nice dude. But no, I'm just excited. Thank y'all ladies for this show, man. Like, I'm glad you got Keith came on, and like I said, I really think he can be the face. In my opinion, he is for American fighters. He is the face of boxing, and he's just gonna keep getting better. And I don't think it's not out the reach by next spring. He'll have all 4 belts. That's my prediction.
Ooh, all right, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for
ladies,
calling in, Joey.
You're
always a passionate guy. We love hearing from you. So thanks for continuing to rock with us.
Thank you, ladies. Take care.
You too.
Yeah, I like that idea. I'm all for the shampoo commercials. I'm all for the Sensodyne commercials. Maybe he want to, do some kind of dietary stuff. I don't know. But Keith seems like he that dude. Maybe he want to, sell some, maybe not incense, because then he'd be out on the corner. But, yeah, I like that. I like that, RB. Well, if you could pick an endorsement or a sponsor for Keith Thurman, I know that's your wheelhouse. If you could go out and get anybody for Keith Thurman, who would you want to match him with?
I would probably go after Champion. Remember the name brand Champion? The People's Champ. It's kind of like of a throwback feel. You don't see a lot of athletes rocking with them anymore. So I think if you had the right athlete, that they would probably endorse the right guy. And how can you not want to endorse someone like Keith? So I would have him all championed out with the big robe, with the champion, boxing shoes. And I would go after a Champion or like a Russell Athletics. I would go in a completely different direction. I wouldn't go after Nike, Reebok, Adidas. Nah, that's too mainstream. I would go, Champion, Russell, those type of brands.
That's actually kind of brilliant. He's down there in Florida. DJ Khaled is in Florida. DJ Khaled owns a Champion store down in Florida.
See?
So if they can get with DJ Khaled, we'll see him all on the Snapchat, all out there. You know what? Let's stop talking. We might have to put some phone calls in our damn selves and see what we can make happen. But anyway, you're listening to the Morning Punch-In Show. We want to hear from you, 718-508-9852. I see you in the queue. You got to press 1 if you want to talk to us. 816-713-404, 708-916. Man, I see you all, 504-805-424. You all sitting in the queue, but you got to call in if you want to pick us up, if you want to talk. But in a minute, I'm going to just start randomly picking up people. So I suggest you press 1 now. Looking back at the merits of the fight. For somebody, you know, when you look at the two guys, I saw some pictures after the fight. You know, Danny's face looked a little tagged, but nothing too terrible. Keith didn't look like he took too much punishment to the face either. So I think it's very feasible to see both guys before the end of the year. What do you think, RB? I hope so.
I mean,
too.
yeah, there's no reason for them, you know, not to fight again this year. It would really be pathetic if they didn't. I mean, dang.
Right. What else they doing? All right, we got somebody from the 617. 617, you are live with RB and Jae. Who is this and where are you calling from?
Hi, RB and Jae. This is Ramiro Martinez. I'm in Boston right now.
What's going on?
I was at the fight in Brooklyn, so it was really exciting to see Keith Thurman fight in the Barclays again. And I saw him fight in San Antonio twice a couple of years ago, so I thought that was really exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again. And, you know, I just want to, you know, a couple points. I just wanted to say that, you know, he's really a crowd pleaser, right? I mean, everybody sort of likes him. People are excited. It was a great fight and all that. But I think the one thing that bothered me was that there were a lot of empty seats still. I don't know if...
Really?
Yeah, maybe it was just, you know, I don't know how it appeared on TV, or maybe I was so high up I just didn't realize people were sitting in them, but, you know, and I just couldn't see it. But it just seemed like, you know, people were kind of arriving late and leaving early. But, you know, I was just curious if you saw anybody in the same weight division that had the same sort of appeal as Thurman. And the other thing was, you know, on the undercard, I thought the Erickson Lubin was really, really exciting. I met him at the hotel. I met his little brother. He was kind of clowning around with people, and I was practicing my French Creole with him. And anyway, I really did like Erickson, and I just didn't know if, you know, one, if you thought, you know, Thurman had, you know, a wide appeal, but also what your feelings were about Erickson as an up-and-comer, if he needs more seasoning, if, you know, he shouldn't be rushed into a, you know, fight, or, you know, just what your thoughts were on the broader appeal and the undercard, the semi-main event. Thank you.
Yes. So I think the numbers that were reported that night were, you know, like 16,500 people. So I'm a little confused right now that you're saying that there were some empty seats. Maybe that was the upper deck?
No, it was kind of lower. I know I sat in that same section. When did he fight? In July. I was there also in June or July last year when he fought. He hasn't fought. You know, he's fighting next month. I can't remember who his opponent was, but the price was, you know, the price of the seats were considerably higher than last summer. So I was sitting at sort of the upper part of the lower section in the Barclays Center. But yeah, there were some empty rows, which I thought was surprising. I don't know if they comped them or, you know, if they sold them at a larger or higher discount later on.
Yeah.
I'm one of those idiots that, you know, waits and, you know, as soon as they go on sale, you know, I get a couple right away, right? And I guess in my lesson I should just wait,
well,
you know, and see what's available later.
Honest,
that's what that was my impression.
Yeah. To be honest, a couple of fighters did reach out to me, they wanted to know if I had any hookup. I said, no, I don't have any hookup, but just wait until the day of the fight and make some calls and see if you can get them cheaper. And I do know that is what some fighters did, some of the fighters that were there. They did wait and get, some ringside for a lot cheaper than what they were going for. But what were some of your other questions? It was Keith's star power, and I think it was about Lubin. Yeah,
Lubin, and I'm sorry, there was one other topic I forgot to mention. I'm a big Heather Hardy fan. I got there early. I, take the train from Boston. She's exciting. I think she's a really good fighter, a good ambassador for women's boxing. But in this fight, you're walking in through security, in the Barclays, and, the security there, it's like visiting Grandma at County on the weekend. It's like they just, go through. You just have to go through so many hoops and hurdles to get in. And so by the time I got to my seats, her fight was halfway over, right? And, it just seemed really kind of disrespectful. She's a Brooklyn fighter. She brings in a lot of, local fans. And I didn't know if anybody picked up on that. But I'm not sure what she could do also to get more television time, if you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, women's boxing, there's some really interesting things happening these days. So Lou has really tried to build Heather Hardy in Brooklyn, and she is a decent draw. You got Golden Boy Promotions, who signed Marlena Esparza. You have Clarissa Shields, who debuted on the Kovalev Ward card, and now she's headlining on Showtime. Katie Taylor over there in the UK with Eddie Hearn has already had like 2 or 3 fights, and people are really high on her. Something is happening, and I can't tell you what because I don't know yet, but something is brewing where all of a sudden promoters are signing females, and I will give Lou credit. He's been at the forefront of this. But, I think they see the success that the UFC had with Heather Hardy, and I think one of these promoters is hoping to find, not Heather Hardy, with Ronda Rousey. I think one of these promoters are hoping to find their Ronda Rousey. I think that's what's happening. And it's pretty interesting and it's cool. I just hope they stick with it and this doesn't become like, just a trial and error. I hope that they're looking at long term.
Right, it takes time. It's an investment, and I think they did do that with Heather, but it just seemed really odd that she was on, like at 6:30 or the first one, and people hadn't even gotten in yet, and almost over. So, and also if how you thought about Erickson Lubin's his performance. He was on the semi-main event, and he just he seems really, a really respectful young man. I'm 55, so, I was at the hotel after the fight. Of course, I got lost on the subway and almost ended up in Manhattan. but anyway, so, I was walking into the hotel and, he was getting ready to go out and, people were standing up and, clapping and cheering, giving him a lot of love. And, he walked over to me and, gave me a big bro hug and stuff. So, I was really touched by that because, you could just tell he was genuinely, overwhelmed by the reaction. And, of course, I'm sure he was very excited by his performance. But, it was little things like that you really don't capture or catch on TV, right?
Yeah.
It's just sort of, interpersonal presence and skills. And but I thought he was a beast, on TV.
Yeah.
And I hadn't paid a lot of attention to his other fights. But I just... hope, they don't rush him along. They take a little bit more time, give him some more seasoning, and I think he has, the ability to make,
I'll touch on Lubin a bit here. I'm going to touch on Lubin a bit here, and then we're going to move on. Lubin has a lot of really good tools, and it is time for him to start stepping up his opposition. Jorge Cota was a good name, but to be real, he hadn't fought since 2015. And, at this time, Lubin is more talented. He is more athletic. He was more active. He just had so many things going for him that it ended up being a meat carving. So I think the next step is, to step up his opposition. But listen, we thank you so much for calling in today. We're going to put you back in the queue and try to pick up another caller.
All right.
Thank you for joining us on the Morning Punch-In Show.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. We loved hearing from the fans. You guys were really, like we mentioned on the show yesterday, if you guys didn't rock with us yesterday, this was a great event. You can't predict how the fight's going to go. but people were really out there having fight parties. And even here in LA people are kind of jaded. If you're from LA, you know LA people will be fronting. I'm gonna talk a little bad about my city. We kind of front unless it's like the end thing, then we're not going to subscribe to it. But people in LA were legit having fight parties who don't even really watch boxing, and they were especially impressed that they could spend the money on liquor and not on the pay-per-view. So that's a good sign for boxing, period. No matter who you pledge your allegiance to, it's always good when people are just tuned in and paying attention to the sport. Mm-hmm. So we like that. But people, I see y'all in the queue. Now we got some I know this is New York. We got some 347s. We got Texas in the queue. We got Jersey in the queue. We got Cali in the queue. We got Philly in the queue. You got to press one, though. You can't, or I'm going to just randomly start grabbing people.
All right. Well, we'll give them a couple more seconds, Jay. If not, let's see. What do we got coming up this weekend? Again, it's Friday night is Philly Fight Night in South Philly at the 2300 Arena. It's an old-fashioned all-Philly rumble going down between Anthony Bergen and Avery Sparrow. You've probably never heard of their names before, but this is a fight you're going to want to see. If you're in Philly, you're going to want to be at the 2300 Arena. If you're not in Philly, you can watch it on GFL.TV. And I think we have a caller who just pressed 1. Let's pick him up, Jay.
All right, let's do it. 347. You're on with RB and Jae. Who is this, and where are you calling from?
What's good, ladies? This is Dre from Queens.
What's up?
Chilling. I just want to talk about what the last caller was saying about there being a lot of empty seats or whatever in the building. I myself was in the building, and there definitely was empty seats, but a lot of that has to do with the parking situation around the Barclays Center. Like, people was coming in late. I had bought cheap seats, right? But I never even went up to my seats because I'm a little spoiled. I like to sit, and I sneak, and I'm a little sneak, you know? I'm a little ninja with this stuff. So I had bought cheap seats to the Martinez-Barker fight, and I ended up getting escorted by Usher to the third row. I went to the Cotto Martinez fight, sat aisleway, even though my tickets was up in the nosebleeds. But whatever, it was me and my shorty. We sat at 110. There was literally 12 seats empty right there in section 110, and I'm on StubHub the whole time looking for where there's empty seats even lower in case they moved us. You know what I'm saying? And right part in the cursing. Yeah. So then by the time the main event came, I seen there was tickets that wasn't sold. Snuck down to section 28. Bunch of Philly cats that was already there that didn't even have those seats. They snuck down too. And a lot of that had to do with the parking situation. Like, that is crazy over there. And then the PPC cards, you know, they're kind of rushed. Like, people are thinking, oh, it's a fight. Main event won't start till like 11 or something. Like, nah, it's in the East Coast. People not even realizing that. So they're showing up late or whatever, and the parking situation was bad. And another thing I wanted to touch on, like, people were kind of let down with the fight or whatever. Me, I wasn't, because for everything that was at stake, you know, like, that was a really big fight right there for both fighters or whatever. And when you got two guys that are in shape like they are, the rounds pass by faster than they even realize. You know, when they're in there and they're training, I think they both wanted to engage more, but the rounds were just passing by so fast that they didn't even realize it. And before you know it, the fight's already over. So I think in a rematch, I think Danny will throw caution to the wind more, and then that's going to force Keith to engage. So I think a rematch would be better than the first one because Danny's already is gone. Keith don't care if he loses his. So I think the next fight will be better. As far as Danny next, I would like to see him fight Broner. I don't know if that's good for Broner, but that would be a good fight. And Keith, he could take a man. It's really not. It's messed up. I seen him there. He walked in with his entourage and Robert Easter, and I don't know. Tank might have been with him. I couldn't tell. But there was a bunch of people around him and shit. He's a clown. But I wish the best for him. He showed me a lot in that Maidana fight. The last rounds in the Maidana fight, I never really liked the kid. He brushed my hair, the whole thing with Paulie and everything. I never really liked him. But he showed grit, though, in the Maidana fight and even in the Porter fight. So he got something in him, but somebody got to fix his brain. Like, there's like a circuit off or something. I don't know. And as far as Keith, like, he could take a mandatory. He doesn't have to fight Kell Brook Errol Spence winner right away. Like some people are saying, like that's gonna happen. Let that manifest. Let it be something more than what it be in 3 months or 6 months or whatever. Let it be another year. I think they're both gonna be there. And he went through Porter, Thurman, and Garcia, so he's due to fight like somewhat of a tomato can in my eyes.
Well, let's not go too far. We don't want to see him fight like a Salsa. But what I do think is good for him next, what I do think would be a fairly easy fight for him, and it's not a tomato can, would be Lamont Peterson. I think that's the best fight for Keith Thurman next, because I think he would whip Lamont Peterson, and I like
You know
Lamont,
what? That's a great idea, because that's
he
nice
got the
name.
IBF belt, and he got the IBF.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, he just won it off that Russian dude or whoever it was. I forget what that was, a couple weeks ago. But Lamont is getting older. He's slowing down a little bit. He's still in really great shape. He has a little bit of a name, and now he has a belt. I think Keith would make easy work of Lamont. So, and it wouldn't be looked at as a tomato can. You know what I'm saying?
No, not at all. That would be a great defense. And I think that fight should happen in Florida. I mean, I know there's no real value there, but I think his next fight, he should bring the titles home and, do it for his home crowd. It's going to be a sellout over there, whatever the venue is. I don't know what it would be. And then as far as you guys are marketing Keith or whatever, I just think, the kid looks real nice in the suit and all that, so maybe like a luxury watch line because the knockouts ain't coming.
Yes.
But one time it would be a nice watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can market that. I mean, the knockouts ain't going to be there no more, but at least the watch will be there.
Right. That's a good idea. See, this is why we like talking to people, because people know.
Yeah,
and
they
know what they know what they would consume and what they would buy. So, see, look at all these good ideas. We better jot these down.
All right, Queens. Thank you so much for calling in. We're going to put you back in the queue and keep it moving here. Thank you so much. All right, thank you.
Man, we getting all kind of good ideas. I'm going to summarize these for us, and we're going to submit them, and we're going to get us a percentage for bringing them to the table.
Listen, we're going to hit up Hannah. We got T-shirt ideas. We got sponsorship endorsement ideas. We got people snitching on the morning punching show. I mean, there's some alternative facts going on here, I think.
Man, I'm finding out some good. Maybe we need to start doing a follow-up show on Tuesday mornings when we are able a little more often, because I'm really finding some good stuff.
Yeah.
See, I'm slipping with the paying attention. But anyway, again, this is the bonus edition of the Morning Punching Show with RB and Jae. At the top of the hour, we played our interview with Keith Thurman. In case you're just now tuning in and you missed our interview with Keith Thurman, the replay will be available once the show has concluded. You'll be able to hear it on Blog Talk, or you can head over to Bad Culture TV. We'll have it up on the YouTube channel. He wasn't on the show yesterday because he's tired. I mean, he just kind of fight this weekend. So we didn't get to talk to Keith until after we wrapped yesterday's show. But yesterday's show was lit, too. We had Jake Donovan. Jakey was on with us, giving us Jake's take. We had Tom Luffler on, giving us some updates, clarifying a few things about Golovkin Jacobs, and also, for those of you who are wondering, or those of you who didn't think of it, we've got Joshua Klitschko coming up, who's going to air the fight. Klitschko's an HBO guy. Joshua's a Showtime guy. I'm really interested in seeing how they're going to work this out, because we see so many fighters who say, oh, well, I couldn't make the fight because I only fight on Showtime, or Adonis Stevenson, and they can't come to some type of, like with Kovalev and Stevenson, well, we fight on opposing networks, so we can't make it happen. So let's see what's going to happen with Klitschko and Joshua and how they work it out. And that's going to be very interesting to see how they air it. But, again, if you want to talk to us, I see a whole bunch of you in the queue still. I see the 916. I see the 404. If you want to talk to us before we wrap, go ahead and press 1, and we will pick up your call. RB, break it down for us. You in Philadelphia right now. People don't realize you are always on the move. What's going on in Philly? Plug your fight one more time for the people just
This Friday night, Philly Fight Night at the 2300 Arena, South Philly. It's an old-fashioned all-Philly rumble between Anthony Bergen and Avery Sparrow. They're both from North Philly, so it's a real rivalry there, a lot of animosity, a lot of talking. They just ready to fight. We are expecting to sell out, so get your tickets. And then what do we got Saturday night? It is Lemieux versus Curtis Stevens on HBO.
Yes. Actually, we could go through that again. We could run back a weekend fight schedule for those of you who missed it yesterday. Remember, March 10th, Clarissa Shields headlining on Showtime. Chimpa Gonzalez LA area on Area TV. I believe that fight is down at Fantasy Springs. So if you want to head on down there, Andy Vences and David Valdivia are fighting in separate bouts on Unamas on Friday, and on Saturday, like RB just said, David Lemieux versus Curtis Stevens. We didn't even give a prediction for that yesterday, RB. What you think about Lemieux Stevens?
Ooh, I want to see the melted cheese really pull this off. I think Curtis Stevens has a lot of power. You know, Lemieux has really been slacking. His last fight, he came in heavy. He looked a little chubby. You could just tell he got a little comfortable after that Golovkin fight. I don't know if he just made decent money or what it was, but I think he's been slacking, you know, feeling himself. And Curtis has not been slacking. He's still hungry. He's still eating out of, you know, cans of tuna fish and all that. So he's still on his grimy shit. And I think he has a really good chance of knocking out Lemieux. I really do.
I think so, too. I'm anxious to see Curtis. Curtis hurt his hand in his last fight, so I'm anxious to see how the recovery was doing. Lemieux cut his hair so he can see during the fight, and his hair don't fall in his face like he did in that one fight. That drove me crazy. If I was his trainer, I would have braided it up and put it in a man bun or something. But it's going to be a close fight. I don't think it goes the distance. Somebody gets knocked out. I'm going to go with Curtis Stevens, too. Let's go, Kurt. Let's go, Brooklyn. Is he from Brooklyn? Yeah, let's go, Brooklyn. Let's go. And if Kurt pulls it off, you know, we'll try to bring him on Monday morning early. The melted cheese.
Yes. All right. Well, listen, I think that's a wrap for us. Badculture.net or badculture.net, RaisinBay.com. Thank you for rocking with us this morning, and we'll talk to you guys Monday on the Morning Punching Show.
Take care.